I didn't get any bigger and I can still fit. This is crazy. Perfect. Good morning, everyone. With a raise of hands, how many of you have heard about Poland or have had any exposure to Polish culture? If not, that's perfectly okay. I am so thrilled to have the opportunity to share my culture and something that's very significant in Polish heritage. To start, I am a first-generation Polish American standing in front of you. Although I didn't live in Poland and I didn't get to experience the same thing as other generations in my family have, I got to do something that many other people haven't. Not only did I attend school Monday through Friday, I also attended a Polish Catholic school. On these Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., I would be in Polish culture 24/7. Hence, me bringing my point of my cultural artifact. Right here, right in front of me, is something called stroje ludowe. This basically translates to traditional costume. This right here is what Polish people wear, and depending on the region that you're in, provides significance in that specific area. Now, there's a lot of different factors that play in a role in it. So I will be going over firstly, where does it come from, the historical background of it. Secondly, I'll go into all of the designs and why it's there, and I'll end with what events they're worn at. So to start, the origin. I'm gonna be quoting my history teacher by the name of Irena Mariotti. She always explained to us that it started off in Kraków. Kraków is basically the capital of Poland and where a lot of records of history are. The cool thing about this is, as you can see, there's a lot of elaborate designs, especially right here on this one, if you look on the front and the back. The cool thing is, looking back on history, no matter what socioeconomic status you were, whether you were wealthy or you were poor, you were able to participate in it and show your pride, which is something I'm very proud of the Polish culture for. Not to mention, there's a lot of different influences within historical background. Mariotti explained to us, if you look at this white collar shirt right here and the design on it, it's influenced by Renaissance and Baroque. Not to mention that in the late 19th century and 20th century, there was also new additions added to it. Polish people wanted to be more diverse and wanted to include more of their history within these traditional clothing. But it is also important to note, depending on the area that you're in, it will change. This particularly right here is from Białystok. This is from northwestern Poland. But if you went down south, it would be completely different, probably a lot more elaborate, a lot more flowy. So now bringing me to my next point, because I talked about the origin, where it's from, now you see all these really cool designs. I'm gonna move up a little bit closer so you guys can kind of see more of it, but I'll start off with this. Anna Jugonowski, a very popular blogger in Poland, talked about all the different designs and what they mean. In my family, we talk a lot about folklore, and despite it being very Catholic, it's a part of our tradition. As you can see, there are 9 main flowers right here that are on the vest part of it. It basically means dziewięć sił, means the 9 powers. In Polish folklore, everyone believed that the 9 flowers were more powerful than any medicinal herb, and they always wanted to protect the dancers and the audience, which I think is pretty cool because it's kind of like a prayer they set out to be. Whereas the women, you guys are not gonna be able to see this from afar, but there's these little flower, circle, and star designs on the inside. This was used as a symbol of protection, fertility, and strength for women. It was a way of the dancers knowing their culture and to stand on their ground and connect to nature. And lastly, there's all these different ribbons. And right now, even as I'm wearing this flower crown, you see all these different ribbons on me. This represents the different phases of life and just the circle of life in general. So nonetheless, a lot of different symbolism that is just brought upon this one outfit. Now lastly, going on to the different events that this is worn. As I've mentioned, the last time I wore this was when I was 7, which is really crazy to say out loud and talk about. But when I attended Polish school, there was different events that we wore it to. There was something called akademias. Akademias are gonna be your plays, and there were dances there. So my teacher, by the name of Kasia Babinska, taught us the dances. Let me tell you, it was very difficult to dance in this, especially when you have something poofy underneath that makes it flow. But the reason why they do these dances is to express Polish culture and make sure that other people understand the history of it. We'd also use different props, and as you see, the flowers were also represented within everything. continuing, there's also an annual Polish festival that's here actually in Phoenix. And I've actually danced at it multiple times with different stroje ludowe to show different parts of history. All in all, from this, I know not all of you raised your hands, but I hope if anything you take away one part of the stroje ludowe and Polish culture. Thank you so much for your time.